Freud is one of the greatest and most controversial thinkers of the 20th century. Known as a brilliant researcher on neurophysiology, he founded the discipline which ultimately made his name, a new field in medicine which he called psychoanalysis. One of his most popular theories is the theory of psychosexual development. He believed that people's personalities and behaviors are highly influenced by earlier life experiences. Psychological development in childhood takes place in a series of fixed stages called psychosexual stages. Each stage is characterized by a specific erogenous zone, the area of the body particularly sensitive to sexual stimulation. Each stage is associated with a particular conflict of sexual instincts. Resolving this conflict is a requirement before the child can successfully advance to the next stage. However, if not resolved properly, fixation will occur and negatively affect the child's future adult self. According to Freud, the ways in which parents or primary caregivers manage these conflicts play a major role in shaping their children's personalities later in life. Here are the 5 stages of psychosexual development proposed by Freud. Oral stage. The psychosexual development proposed by Freud begins with the oral stage. This stage occurs to a child of 0 to 1 year old. Freud believed that during the first year of an infant's life, the mouth serves as the erogenous zone or the area most sensitive to pleasure. Have you ever wondered why babies keep sucking on their thumb? Freud said that it happens because at this early stage of life, children satisfy themselves through sucking, nibbling, and biting. Moreover, this period is when basic trust is first established. Thus, the role of primary caregiver is absolutely necessary. Oral stimulation could lead to oral fixation if the desire is either dissatisfied or excessively satisfied. An example of people who are not able to move on from this stage are the nail biters, thumb suckers, smokers, and alcoholics. Anal stage. After the oral stage, the erogenous zone transfers to the anus, which may not sound very appealing, but let's hear what Freud has to say. According to him, the anal stage happens during 1 to 3 years of a child's life. This is the time when the ego is developed and children begin to be aware of their roles and responsibilities inside the home and later on in the society. More importantly, this stage is when children develop a sense of responsibility and self-control through proper toilet training. Parents are responsible for training their child how and where to poop. This may sound funny and gross, but poopy training is significant in shaping the personality of a child later in life. For instance, children who are rewarded every time they do it right turn out to be competent, productive, and creative individuals. On the other hand, those who receive shame and ridicule are more likely to be messy, wasteful, or have a destructive personality. However, those who are strictly trained are more likely to become organized and neat. Phallic stage, also referred to as the infantile genital stage, this third stage of psychosexual development occurs between 3 to 6 years old. The pleasure-seeking area of the body transfers to the genitals. This is the time when children struggle with sexual desires and fantasies toward the opposite sex. Masturbation becomes common during this stage. This stage is also called the little puberty. This should not be confused with the genital stage, which can be referred to as puberty as well. The phallic is a quick and early stage in adolescence, whereas the genital stage is the long and final stage of the psychosexual development. What made this stage perhaps the most controversial of all stages is Freud's concept of Oedipus and Electra complex. In this stage, the child unconsciously experiences sexual feelings towards the parent of the opposite sex. Oedipus complex occurs when a male child develops sexual desire for his mother and perceives his father as a rival for her attention. The opposite happens for a female child. Electra complex induces sexual desire of a female child towards her father and finds her mother as a competition for the father's attention. In addition to that, boys start to take pride of their male genital and fear castration, whereas girls develop penis envy. Fixation in this stage later causes children to become narcissistic, attention seekers, and sexually aggressive adults. Letting them think closely with the concept of sexuality, according to Freud, really affects their attitude towards others. Latency stage. The latency stage is where children's feelings towards their opposite sex parents are suppressed after developing the superego and the Oedipal situation ceased. This is where maturity takes place. Children begin to develop consciousness about themselves when it comes to dealing with people outside their immediate family. Children begin to refocus their interests and desires on their individual capacities and skills. They focus on their interactions with peers of the same sex. These are essential in preventing the manifestation of fixated behaviors such as immaturity and lack of self-confidence. This stage is also important in discovering one's identity in social norms, specifically in gender aspects, since this stage constitutes the homosexual phase. Peers can and may play a huge role in determining one's sexual orientation based on exposure of opposite or same sexes. Genital stage. Moving on to the last stage of Freud's psychosexual development, let us talk about the genital stage. This stage occurs during the puberty period of a person's life and continues on to death. From the word genital, relating to human reproductive organs, this stage focuses more on the sexual interests of a person that is not of his or her family. Got any crushes? Thoughts on your future husband or wife? This is the time when one develops a strong sexual interest in the opposite sex. In earlier years of this stage, or puberty, one would be more attracted to someone who is more mature and older before actually getting attracted to someone his or her age, as Freud suggested. Genital stage relates to the phallic stage, but is more perennial and developed. Well, not only the phallic stage is integrated in this period, but also the previous stages, allowing one to have a healthy and balanced sexual feelings and behavior. Moreover, you become more considerate of the welfare of others as compared to the previous stages. If you have completed the other stages successfully, then you should be now well-adjusted, warm, and caring. Oneself would be on its way in developing wholly. Achieving and establishing balance in different aspects of your life would be this stage's goal. Let's go, self! Despite Freud's great influence on psychology, his theories have always been known to be controversial and therefore criticized by many personality theorists. Exploring some of the apparent flaws of his theory, Freud based his work on psychosexual development on troubled adults, even though this theory centers on children. Also, he did not consider important factors such as culture and society and assumed that these stages apply universally to everyone. Another criticism on the psychosexual development theory is that Freud focused too much on sexuality. It appears that everything, both good and bad, results from the expression or repression of the sex drive. Many modern thinkers say that Freud generalized too far without considering cultural aspects of an individual. Finally, feminist theorists find Freud's theory to be sexist and reliant on male perspective. However, regardless of these criticisms, Freud's theory of psychosexual development serves as foundation for many succeeding theories about personality and the self.